Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm taking a look at a GTX 1070 that's actually been giving me a little bit of issues for quite a long time. I do apologize, the computer that I normally do my audio recording with is on the fritz. Thank you, Windows Update. But regardless, we're forging ahead, and hopefully I'll have some B-roll here to show you the 1070. And by the way, the case that it's in, this Cooler Master case, I'll link down below because this is a fantastic case that has excellent airflow with some dust filters that are magnetic. You can remove them pretty easily, clean them off, and get them back and going again really quickly. Love this case. It's a micro ATX case in case you're interested. Pretty small, great cable management. It's just an awesome case. I can't say enough good about it. But the 1070 in question has artifacting issues where on the desktop everything seems fine. You hop into games, some of the lesser demanding games also seem fine, but then when you hop into a demanding game, there's just little blips all over the place. It looks sort of staticky, sort of like older TVs before the digital revolution when we had analog TV signals. It just looks bad. And Yes City recently did a video in which he diagnosed an RTX card, I can't remember if it was a 2080 or 2080 Ti, as having memory that was degrading fairly rapidly. So the solution for him to at least get the card up and running again was to lower the memory clocks and thereby making the memory stable again, because what was happening was the memory wasn't 100% stable at the clock speeds, at the stock clocks that they were running it. So we're going to try that with the 1070. Maybe lowering the clock speed on the GTX 1070 in this case will give us back a card that is otherwise perfectly fine. You can still play games with it, it's just you have to deal with the artifacting. So hopefully we can lower the clock speeds and hopefully we can get this card at least functional. Sure, it's not going to be 100% of the performance it was before it began to malfunction, but at least I get my card back. So the first thing I want to do here is jump into a game and look at the actual artifacting and actually give you something to see the type of artifacting I'm talking about. So if you have your own video card that starts to exhibit these same issues, maybe it'll point you down the right direction, especially if this fix works. Fingers crossed on that front. So at first glance here in superposition here, there's not really much to go off of. Everything looks just fine. There's not really any artifacting going on that I can tell. Everything looks fine with this 1070, and this has been one of the problems with this card is that it can be a little bit hit or miss when I see that artifacting. So I'm going to go to a different game, an actual game, and see if I can recreate some artifacting that's repeatable so that if I can solve the issue, I can actually tell if the issue is solved or if I've just picked a game that doesn't happen to exhibit the issue. Okay, so after swapping to a 1440p monitor, we actually finally have the artifacting I'm talking about. Now you'll notice this sort of flashing line right along the curb, and it's sort of up here as well. That should not be there in this particular game. So I'm gonna walk around a little bit just so you can kind of see some of the artifacting that happens here. And it was running just fine for several minutes, so it's almost like the card has to heat up and get going a little bit before the artifacting actually starts. So as I drove along there, you probably noticed that the artifacting was actually getting a little bit more out of hand, and you can actually sort of see it just sort of glitching out on the screen right now. So what I'm going to do is hop out of game and drop my memory clocks down and see if I can stabilize this card, and I think we're about to crash actually. So we're going to start off by going for a negative 200 memory clock offset here, and we're just going to hop back into game, play a little bit more, and see if that solved the issue. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of game completely instead of just alt-tabbing out. Well, maybe. Oh, yep. I'm going to go ahead and alt-tab out of this now to give it a fresh start, to give it a fair chance at possibly recovering itself. So we see straight away that dropping the memory clock negative 200 didn't do us any good here. So I'm actually on Alt-Tab back out, drop it clear down by 500 and see if that helps at all. though I suspect with as bad as this artifacting is, I doubt that's gonna do much. Yeah, so hopping back in game, more of the same. The memory is running at about as slow as I can make it run with MSI Afterburner, and we're probably gonna crash soon. So the next step is gonna be to actually drop the clock of the card itself. Now, I'm gonna go straight for broke. Here we have memory at -502. We have the clock speed at -400. That's as slow as I can run this card using just MSI Afterburner. So we're gonna try this. If that doesn't do anything, we're gonna do the last step of upping our power and temperature limits, though I really don't think that's any kind of factor at this point whatsoever. Might as well try the sliders just to see what you can do. So this is really interesting. After I dropped the clock speed of the core itself, so not looking at the memory anymore, just actually looking at the clock speed of the actual GPU, we have much less artifacting to the point where this game would be playable at least. Obviously, or at least it looks like obviously, the stability issues I had misdiagnosed as a memory problem. This doesn't look like a memory issue at all. This actually looks like an actual GPU issue. So I'm gonna go ahead and play around a little bit more, and there is still some artifacting happening, like some sort of weird flashing, but it's way down from what it was before. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can play a little bit and if that sort of continues to get worse. Now you'll see as I'm driving along here that really the street side just looks like the paparazzi is out taking pictures all over. The last thing I'm gonna try is upping that power and temperature limit. I don't think that's gonna do anything whatsoever for me, but I might as well try everything in the MSI book here that I can. And at the end of the day, it's looking like I'm not gonna be able to do enough for this card to get it back to the shape where it's at least usable. It looks like the card is just on its way out, and it doesn't look like there's much I can do to save it. So the last thing I'm gonna do here is actually unlock voltage control, and I'm gonna add some voltage to the card because the way I'm looking at it is the card is dead in my eyes anyways. I can't fix it using the standard sliding the memory clocks down, sliding the core clocks down. So the next thing I'm gonna try is actually adding a little voltage and see if that helps stabilize the image whatsoever or not. So I'm gonna add 10% here to the card, and I've already clicked apply, so I'm gonna hop back in game. And yeah, you're seeing, we're still seeing the flickering, flashing going along. There's just nothing I can do, and obviously the screen is very dark right now because the game's actually at night, which actually does allow you to see the sort of flickering that's going on over there. Those are not lights. I'll turn up the exposure here a little bit. So again, back in game, those are not lights. Those are the flickers that should not be there. That is just over there to the left of my car here, where that bright flashing is coming from. That is the sidewalk. Sidewalks do not generate light, so there's just nothing I can do for this card. Unfortunately, it wasn't the memory clocks like on Tech Yes City, and it does look like a GPU issue, but I couldn't drop the clocks low enough to get myself to the point where it's a usable card. Unfortunately, it looks like this 1070 is on its way to becoming a display piece. So there you have it, guys, but of course I do want to kick it back to you. Have you had an issue like this that you've either been able to fix, maybe you haven't been able to fix it, but if you had some of these issues where your video cards are clearly malfunctioning in some way, but still technically usable if you're willing to put up with whether it be artifacting or maybe just some instability, that sort of thing, let me know about your video card malfunctions in those comments down below. And of course, if you like this video, hey, give it a like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very helpful to the channel. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. And as always, I'll let YouTube queue up a couple videos around me from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you guys in the next video.